Well, we're here. Joe Cioffi, Fios 1 News, Long Island and New Jersey.
And Joe Rayo, Fios 1 News, Lower Hudson Valley. And we're anxiously awaiting now, for those of you who are watching, let's say later on in the evening or even late tonight or tomorrow morning, it is now coming up on 9:34 Eastern Standard Time on Friday night, the 18th of January, and we are anxiously awaiting the full run of the North American model, the NAM, and seeing whether or not it continues on a cold trend or whether or not it's going to follow the GFS, the Canadian and the European models, in trying to warm things up. And if so, that's going to throw a bit of a monkey wrench into what we have been thinking up till now, Joe, in terms of snow and ice and freezing rain.
Well, you know, we were kind of leaning away toward the low end anyhow. Our numbers, you know, are really actually have been among the lower numbers that have been out there that are running around. And this was never going to be a 1 foot snowstorm for the coastal areas anyhow. So it was just really a matter of figuring out where the rain snow line was going to be. We knew that was going to go inland. Now, of course, the model runs keep getting, you know, warmer, forming into the trends of the others. And by the way, there were a couple of signs tonight that I think are telltale. First off, we still have a lot of clouds around. It's been slow to clear. There's dry air to the north. It's taking forever to get in here.
Right.
This push of cold air with this big cold high that's building across southeastern Canada, but the push down the east coast is not that. We've seen a few of them build down rather strongly. This one is not doing it, and that is going to. That's a big problem. And the other thing is, when we look at the new NAM, which I've got on the screen up here right now, this was the one model that was just kind of holding back rather than what the others did today. Anytime I see this, to me it's always a problem. When you start to see the snow move through eastern Pennsylvania westward and through upstate New York, and it starts snowing there first, that is a sign that is not conducive for big snows or even just a nuisance, you know, snow. Right. And I'm thinking, Joe, that there'll be, you get this burst at the start, puts down a coating to a couple inches at the coast, and maybe, you know, a bit more inland, obviously. But I think it's going to go to rain.
Look at that! Look! Oh my goodness!
Well, here's the close-up view. I mean, this kind of takes that rain snow line.
Can you center on the northeast?
Oh, we'll go on the northeast, but I wanted to go on the wide view here, just to show you. I mean, look at where the surface. The low now is tracking like the other models,
right,
into Southwest Jersey to right over Long Island, and this is, you know, this is going to mean that warmer air is going to get in. I wouldn't be surprised to see temperatures get into the 50s on Long Island, in South Jersey along the coast, and even on Long Island. It's not impossible that we could see temperatures in the 50s on the east end.
Now look at the penetration we have had over the last few NAM runs. Just that stripe of beet purple or whatever across the northeast. Now look at this. Oh,
it's all inland, Joe. I mean,
it's
loading up, so you're getting that flash. But look at what goes on. You get this quick burst, and that's fine. This is at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Right.
So, you know, you're going to be snowing, but unlike last night, when you look back at last night, just for a comparison's sake, I'm sorry. Here's last night at 8 o'clock, 9, 10, you know, then this long period of sleet that just hangs all night long.
Right. Over the Hudson Valley
and northern New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you got rain over Long Island, and then you had the mid run, which was actually even a little colder, where it brought in snow here. These are 3-hour increments here, so this is at this one was at 7 p.m., 10 p.m., even at 1 a.m. on one of the overnight runs of the NAM. It still had it snowing in that dark blue, probably some heavy snow across Long Island before you lost it. And here at Sunday morning, 4 a.m., you got all this sleet and freezing rain going on just over and just north of New York City.
Right.
That's not going to be. We go to the new run, look where it is. I mean, now you're talking about the southern edge of that is is up in southern Dutchess County, and that might not be far north enough. Take a look at that. I mean, you know,
that's literally the southern edge of that sleet is right over my house. I don't like that.
Yeah, but this says that after a brief period of snow for the coastal areas. Now, look, the northern and western counties of New Jersey, you know, you're still going to have some issues here. You're going to have a longer period of snow to work through, but in terms of the big amounts, you know, maybe up in Sussex County, you might wind up with some amounts close. I'm almost hesitant to figure out what the top number might be, but I'm just kind of wondering now whether anybody in northern New Jersey is going to wind up with a half a foot out of this. In the northwestern corner, and certainly as you go southeast, you know, you head down toward Route 78. What's it going to be there? A slushy coating to an inch or two at most. Right. And then it gets washed away by rain anyhow. Right. Same for Long Island.
Now we have one more primary run, the 12Z tomorrow, before the actual event moves in. And one of the things we were discussing last night is, albeit it was a rather weak and mealy-mouthed, dibbly-squat type system that gave us a little bit of snow this morning, but I wonder if some of the intensification of that system out at sea now is helping to interact with that approaching system and helping to curve the storm more inland.
That could be. It could very well be. Here's the HRRR, the 0Z HRRR, and I just remembered this tonight, so we could use this again too. The 0Z HRRR, when we're very close to an event, goes out 36 hours. So it was up to 36 hours. In tonight's case, it only went out 33. But here, the same thing. You see the snow moving.
It's almost just like a finger pointing. Like,
right, but that's usually how it works.
Right.
So
you want the snow to come up, let's say, from the south or southwest, not come straight at you from the side, from the west.
Right, it's a
or
different
the west northwest.
But it comes in like this. That's because there's warmer air going to probably come in at the boundary. And look at this. I mean, it doesn't even the HRRR actually starts it as rain over Long Island and has rain. You know, the sleet line as the precip gets underway. You know, northern New Jersey, you know, gets a few hours of snow. This is at 11 o'clock tomorrow night. The Hudson Valley's snowing on this at 11 o'clock tomorrow night.
Right.
So this is midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m.
Is that a hole or is that a...
That's a little bit of a dry hole, I guess. I don't know.
We saw something like that on one of the 12s, one of the NAM runs earlier this week. I said, is that a hole or is that... It's,
so let's look at... I'll pull up the snowfall on the HRRR. Right, so I mean, the HRRR, you know, suggests that at least up in, you know, northwest New Jersey and the northwestern counties, you know, you might still see a fair. I don't know what the word decent is. I guess it depends for snow lovers, but you can see on the map hardly anything on Long Island and hardly anything south of Route 78. It kind of gets, I guess from 0 to 6 inches, it's very tight as you go north and west.
Right.
That lighter blue is probably about 2 or 3 inches, so that's doable there in northeast New Jersey and
parts of the Hudson Valley.
Parts of the Hudson Valley. Yeah. Maybe when you go up to northern Putnam and up through Dutchess County, that's where you wind up with 6 or more.
Yeah, north of the 84 corridor. That's what I've been saying all day, is that if you want snow, go north along or north of the 84 corridor, and that's where most of the precipitation should be in the form of snow, although now I'm not even sure anymore the way this thing is warming up.
All right, and here's the NAM with its ridiculous numbers. Let me see if they got the positive snow growth, because a lot of that is sleep.
Now what is that, 10 to 1?
And that's nonsense. That's 10 to 1. That's not happening.
How do you get, what is that, 19 inches? Or?
Yeah, no, this is crazy.
No.
Actually, this map on the positive snow growth map is not unreasonable.
Right.
A coating to maybe an inch on Long Island, just south of the city, south of Route 78, there's hardly anything.
Right.
You've got a couple of inches. You go north of 78 to about 80, and then north and west of Route 80, you start getting into some, 4, 5, 6 inch amounts. But that might be the limit of the upside, I would think. And same for the Hudson Valley. Once you get up, north of Route 84, you start to get into maybe some 4, 5, 6 inch numbers. But you may have to go all the way up to I-90 if this is right, is to find anything on the order of a foot.
Right.
So,
I agree. I absolutely agree.
The 2 meter temperatures, which is what we were looking at as far as getting above freezing and all, and its impact. Joe, look at the. Now we were watching yesterday. The NAM, for some reason, doesn't get as aggressive with bringing temperatures up. That's going to load. But, you know, this is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And
kind of like a compression or whatever.
Yeah, but you know what, Joe? Look at the big differences here on this run tonight. Unlike the runs last night and before, where the 32-degree line was actually south of the south shore of Long Island, okay? During tomorrow night, now here it is. This is starting from 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's the dash. We got the last blue, the first. So you get that dash line. The dash line, 32,
it's down to the south shore of Westchester and around
at best,
78.
At best,
yeah.
It just kind of comes to a stop there, wherever that spot might be. You know, but that's north of White Plains.
Right.
Yeah, Joe. It just comes to a grinding halt, but well inland. But it's never on this run is so much warmer that. You never had the 32-degree line to the south of New York City,
right?
And I think that goes to the fact that you're not getting that cold air that's up to the north. If you look at the temperatures, folks, up near Albany, it's 15 there, and you got temperatures near zero as you head up to Plattsburgh. But that cold air is not draining down during the day tomorrow, or even tonight. Some of it's draining down, but very little of it. Not like what was indicated, and that's it. You got the 45-degree isotherm there at Sunday morning is across central New Jersey and just off the south shore of Long Island. After that, it all collapses and the bitter cold air comes in. So the zero. Well, that's Monday. Let me get to Monday morning. So -5 in northwest New Jersey, 0 just north of the city, +5 in South Brooklyn and over Long Island. So the bitter cold is going to happen no matter what.
Right.
So
just as a curiosity, where did the zero line? Where was the zero line placed on the NAM?
At the what level?
The 850.
850.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. So let's go to the 850. That's Monday morning, when it's a crisp minus. What is that? -25, -30 at 850.
Oh, lovely.
Well, here's the zero. And we usually use the zero line as a good idea of rain snow. This is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oddly enough, the 850 at 10 o'clock is still to our south. We got to pull the foos up to take a look at what it's doing.
There, it goes right.
Yeah, it goes right through, right after. So this is at. I'm sorry. So this is 4Z is 11 o'clock, midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
All right. So you know what? I'm going to pull the. Let me bring us back full screen. And I know the weenies are now, taking deciding. Who's going to draw
the Throgs Neck Bridge?
Right? Well, who's going to draw the lowest straw to jump first? All right, so let me bring that up.
I would still, however, go with the NAM just to be on
the safe side,
on the safe side or whatever, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overstate it, but all right. So here we go. So tomorrow, so it gives 26 hundredths. So it gives 26 hundredths before 7 o'clock in the evening. No, I'm sorry. Am I reading that right? I'm sorry. 100th. 100th between, and it's +1, -3, -4. But look, Joe, even at 30 hours, I think yesterday when we were looking at this at the 6-hour period.
36. No, look at 36.
51
and 03
+3.
That's
3. Yeah, that's gone.
I mean,
that's gone.
I'm sorry, guys. Was it yesterday or the day before? It was like 46 and -2 or something.
Yep, and now it's 51 and +3. So,
wow.
I think I think.
And I'm not even very impressed. I'm not overly impressed either with the boundary level winds. If you're talking about fierce, blustery conditions or whatever, it's 21. My rule of thumb in trying to get like wind gusts or whatever is always take the boundary level wind and multiply it by 1.5. So that seems to suggest like we may have 30-mile-per-hour gusts from the north-northwest come Sunday evening.
Right.
And that would be especially so if you're at the coast. If you're inland, it might actually be less than that.
Right.
But I mean, if you're what we were thinking about 2 days ago, the roaring winds and not
going to have not roaring winds. I mean, it'll get windy, but it's not going to be crazy.
And let me just take a look at the drop on the T1. So we get to up to 03, then we drop in 6 hours. We drop to -6, and we pretty well hold there -6 until. See, then we have another drop.
Right.
Later at night, all of a sudden, at 1 a.m., we drop to 86, so that's -14, and 83, -17. So, as I've been saying, the really cold air that you've been hearing about is not going to penetrate or not going to come in here probably until late Sunday night or even after midnight. It'll get colder Sunday afternoon and evening, but it's not going to be the kind of frigid cold that you're hearing about. That comes late Sunday night and on into Monday. And I think the worst of it will probably be early on Monday.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, that pretty much sums it up, folks. This is going to be a manageable event, certainly on the coast. Inland, it's going to be a bit of a different story, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be anything crazy here overall. I think that's a fair thing to say. I mean, not that one of the things that winds up happening. And we just got a couple of minutes, and I think you'll agree with this point. One of the things that winds up happening, and this is part of this problem, is the fact that people forecast shop. Okay, they hear what we say, then they go to the other station and they hear what they say, and then they go on the internet and then they find what somebody else says, and on it goes. And the problem is that then what winds up happening is you mix up who told you what. Okay, so then you come back and then you say to us that we overstated it, you hyped it, or whatever the word is, which is completely untrue. But my point is, folks, try to limit. I mean, I know you guys love weather. If not, you wouldn't be on here night after night, and I totally get it. But try to kind of limit how much you're absorbing from other sources, if only because of the fact that after a while you get all these mixed messages. And of course, one of our problems that we've talked about is the fact that we have the message in terms of the forecast. Unfortunately, all the surrounding media influences it, and then we get it too, because if we put out a forecast from the beginning that said a coating to an inch, and then we find it, we get told, well, so and so said a foot. Right. What are we supposed to do? It's just
you have to remember
this is what we do.
I did 1010 Winds Radio. Of course, everybody knows about 1010 Winds. It's a major all news station or whatever. And I got to tell you, Joe, it was the 2 years that I was there. They put me through what they put me through. Whenever there was this potential major storm event, especially in the wintertime, and I once got this lecture from the news director over there saying, "You don't seem to understand, our ratings are driven by major storm," as if I was the one who was controlling the weather elements.
Yeah.
And I'm only trying to, and they got there was one storm that whole winter, in fact, it was the only storm that brought a significant snowfall, and they were very, very happy because their ratings, briefly.
Well, at the end,
this is what they want.
And I honestly say, I've been doing, this is my 40th year. I have never had someone tell me, you need to beef this up. You need to. So thankfully, that's never happened to me. And I would never do that.
Right.
But anyway,
just think about all of you of a certain age will think about your TV stations 40 years ago. If there was even just a light snowfall, they'd wait for Dr. Frank Field to tell you about it. Now you get a snow flurry, and it leads.
And they're running crawls, and there's boxes,
snow team, and everything else.
Yeah, it's just
it's
and for us it's kind of hard to fight. So we just basically try to keep it real. We do a lot of meteorology when we're on here. One of the things that we're not afraid to do with you folks at home is, we get into a lot of stuff here. We do, and a lot of it's technical.
Right.
So we try to explain it as best we can. And I think it's great that you guys absorb. You come back, you absorb it all, you ask great questions, and that's awesome. Sometimes this is part of the process when it comes to forecasting. Sometimes it's. a lot of times it's hard.
Right.
It's easy when it's sunny and 75, but when you're dealing with rain and when you're dealing with, and more so when you're dealing with snow, particularly heavy snow, there's a lot of factors to consider. So, I think everybody's getting a sense that's here every night that's what it is.
Right.
It is very complicated.
Now, if it continues to warm as we're seeing here on a Friday night, 24 hours before the event, you're going to have a number of New Yorkers on Sunday say, yeah, it's cold and it's windy, but they said big snow, and it just rained.
And actually, we never did say big snow for the coast. Okay, so let's make that clear. Anyhow, we got to go, because last night ended a little late, and Ivan got mad at me. And
Okay.
I can't have Ivan mad at me on a Friday night. All right, so I'll be actually here at FiOS 1 News, Long Island, New Jersey, and Hudson Valley tomorrow night. So you'll tune in. You've got the day off. You and I will be back together
on Monday. Cold Monday.
On a very cold Monday on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. So be sure to tune in. And I'll probably come on at some point tomorrow to go over all of this, and we'll see what's going on. All right. So everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a safe day tomorrow, and we'll see you probably at some point tomorrow night.
Have a good night, a good weekend.
Take care.